Good afternoon, this is Dario.
Hello, Dario.
Good afternoon.
Good. Chiara, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so welcome everybody to this first meeting for production execution and quality management. So today, since it's the first meeting, we will go into the detail of your current production model and your current quality management model. So maybe it will be a little bit, let's say, boring, this meeting, in the sense that we will let everybody speak for its company. Maybe you already know each other, or maybe this is an opportunity for you as well to get to know each other concerning to the production model and the quality management process. But this will be the starting point for us in order to define what will be the common global model for these two processes that we have in scope. So, Giancarlo, if you can please share, Giancarlo or Paolo, so we can see the topic.
My screen?
Yes, thank you, Giancarlo. Okay, so these are the topics on which we will go through today. So we have different ones, and just 1 hour and a half. So I will ask everybody for its company to talk, to spend, let's say, 15 minutes each one to describe at very high level, let's say, at very high level, its company for these processes in scope. I know that in 15 minutes are very few, but we have just to get to know some insight of your model. Just is the most important element, so that we can match together with the production model and quality management processes that are in place in Italy, so to get to, as I said, a unique common model. So let's see the production topics. So first of all, we would like to know if you have, which tools are you using now to support your business as usual activities for production and quality. So if you have some, let's say, manufacturing execution system to run the production orders, or if you have some system support for your quality activities, quality control activities, or you actually do quality control just by hand, just by paper, or with, let's say, Excel spreadsheet and so on. After that, we will go into the detail of the process. So starting from production execution, the main topics will be how, starting from the production order that has been released to the shop floor, to understand how you keep track of the lot. So if you manage a lot batch on your semi-finished product and on your final products, how you execute the production order per each production phase, how you consume the material at the end of each production phase, at the end of the day, and so on, and how happens the production order closing. If you declare the scraps, and how do you do it? And finally, we will talk about quality management process. So if you can tell us how is the quality management process along each step of the supply chain. So starting from the material reception to the production, so quality control on semi-finished product and on finished product. But most of all, we are interested to know if you have some, let's say, quality status in the system. So if there is something that is not conforming to your standard quality, let's say, to your quality. I don't know the word in English, sorry. If there is some finished product or semi-finished product that does not respect your quality standard, if you create a non-conformant or you keep track of the fact that that lot is not conformant in the system. So you are sure that it doesn't go to the following, let's say, production phase for the production. But I know that I mentioned a lot of topics, so let's start from the applicative landscape that you have currently in place today for production execution and quality. And maybe we can start in order, company by company, and we can go through all the topics in order not to make, let's say, confusion. So I don't know if everything is clear for everybody, or do we have to repeat it in Spanish? We also have the slide in Spanish, actually. Just tell me for Spanish guys if everything is clear.
Yes, Chiara, could you please send the slides to the Spanish team so they can already see it when you speak?
Okay.
Or if you send it to me, I can do it without any problem.
Yes, please, because we have to
No
keep
worries.
track.
Yes.
Okay. Paolo, could you please share this slide with Flo so she can share with the Spanish team?
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Okay. Who does want to start? Which company does want to break the ice?
Only the Braves.
Otherwise, I will call. I choose. Okay. Germany.
Okay, then I guess I will make the first start for Germany. My name is
Thank you.
Stefan Klein. I'm working in the planning and scheduling department for 2 years, and before that I was working in the closure production for 6 years, and now I'm in the planning and schedule department, and for tracking down the necessary point you mentioned, we use an ERP system. It's called Abbas. And what can I say about Abbas? You have to think it's at first our sales team is putting in an order in our ERP system. Then the necessary materials will be calculated by our ERP system for the order for a specific. Then it's my part, and I'm planning and scheduling the orders to the specific assembly line, where and when it has to be produced. And yeah, also shipment and also shipment we make over our ERP system. And this is how we trace the good amount of our closures. The assembly line worker is booking the good amount into our ERP system, and I can see how much we have produced. The scrap is already also tracked via weighted containers. We have specific weighted containers in our production where we measure the scrap every day, and we note it down. And for charts and visuals, we use Excel in Germany. For quality tracking, we have also a communication system in Abbas.
Right, Stefan. So I will ask you more specific questions.
Yeah.
So to guide the discussion. So once you schedule your production order on Abbas and you release it to the shop floor, so you have your production order and you need to start your production.
Yes.
So do you have some manufacturing execution system? So some, let's say, external system to, let's say, move from one production phase to the subsequent and so on? Or do you basically execute the production order directly in Abbas?
Abbas keeps tracking from our orders. I make specific orders and I make a plan. It's printed in printed form, and then the production worker knows what to do. They have a specific order, and if the order is in line to produce, they have a specific number where they can book the good amount of closures, keep track of scrap, and I can see how many good amount of pieces we have.
So at the end of the day in Germany, so it's Matthias, hi to everybody.
My boss.
The MES tool is more or less integrated in ABAS, so we do not
All right.
need an ordinary tool.
Okay, how many production phases per each production order do you have? Like you have one production order for multiple production phases, or do you have one production order per each single production phases?
So we have one order for each single item, so for each slot, for each batch.
Okay, and okay, so you, the operator, the production operator in ABAS, each time the production order for a specific item is, each production order is basically confirmed directly in ABAS. And do you have the possibility in ABAS to declare both the good pieces, the good quantity, and the scrap?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
So the operator is reporting the good pieces, and as well he is reporting the scrap closures or scrap amount. So actual the operator is doing that manual. So for scrap, he's reading out his inspection system and takes over this amount, and as well he takes out the good amount. So it's not like we have it in Spain or in Italy, so it's not connected like Iris, for example.
So do you count the good pieces? Or
We
the scrap?
count we count the
Manually.
good pieces, not manually, it's automatically, but to enter it into system is a manual operation.
All right. Okay. It's much clear.
It's
okay.
a little bit difficult to count 600,000
Yeah,
closures
1
per
million
line.
pieces or a million or closures.
Sorry,
of course.
I'm not sure I understood. So, Matthias, you said that you have an MAS integrated with ABAS, or I understood wrong?
So when we are talking about the same, so it's integrated in ABAS. So the on the shop floor, all the production orders that we are producing are reported into directly into ABAS. So amount, good pieces, bad pieces, one time, each order for each line.
Okay, and the good quantities and scrap have to be manually inserted in ABAS.
Yes, it's
Okay.
counted automatically, but
But
you have to insert it manually.
Okay. And
So
is
we do not have a directly connection from the machine
Okay.
to the ERP system.
And is the operator in the production area which have access to ABAS and can key input inside the number of good and scraps?
Yes.
Okay.
So he is reporting in ABAS, okay, the name of the operator, date, the name of the machine, working time, good pieces, bad pieces, reasons for bad pieces or for scrap, as well the single batch numbers. So everything is done by the operator.
Thanks. Chiara, please proceed. Sorry.
All right. And which is the frequency by which you, let's say, close each production order?
It depends on the lot size.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a fast one with for an hour or two, or could be a longer one. But at the end of the day, we are working in 3 shifts, and on each shift you have to do it one time. This is the minimum. So if you have a production order for, let's say, 3 million closures, and one time from 6 shifts, so you have 6 times to enter into system, shift by shift. So if you are producing more orders or smaller batches, you have to do it often.
All right, thank you. I have another question. So you mentioned you have batch for semi-finished product and finished product, but do you also manage handling unit for, let's say we have one single batch of 1 million pieces and you produce a different handling unit? Do you also manage
No,
an
we do not. We do not have different items with a different handling. So in the closure production, so when we are producing finished goods, so we start at the level of punching and start and end on assembly, and this is a process from about 3 minutes. So we do not have single steps.
Sorry, I'm not sure to have understood correctly. Can
So
you please repeat?
if we have a look on the items, so let me say I have to produce a talog, for example. So a spring in other companies, it's a spring. So in Italy and in Spain. So
Okay.
this is the 28 millimeter closure with the TPE ring. So we start production with punching and we end with assembly and all in between. So we have inline production. So we do not need to put different stages into our ERP system. So,
Okay, but I think the question of Chiara was slightly different. So just to understand, no, because we have been to Spinetta, for example. So let's say we started, come si dice stampaggio, Chiara?
Printing.
Okay, the printing of a batch of 1 million pieces of I don't know a component, but while and let's say the production is lasting I don't know 24 hours. During these 24 hours, they create different boxes or octabins or don't know. So
Yeah.
every time they produce a box or octabin, they create a handling unit code. So you have
Yes,
1 million
exactly.
pieces in 10 boxes. Do you create this a name for each boxes or not?
Yes, we create a code. The system is
Okay.
creating a code automatically.
Okay, but the code of the item is the same. Then you have like different
Yes.
different. Okay, so you have code 100.01.02.03 something like that.
Something like that.
Okay, and the system is automatically generating each code for each handling unit box or octabin.
Yes,
Okay,
but only for finished goods,
only for finished goods, not for
Oh.
semi-finished goods.
not for semi-finished goods.
Okay, for the semi-finished good, you have a unique
We
batch.
do not have semi-finished goods.
Okay, because since you start, it's just a unique big production that starts from the beginning and the end
Yes.
is the finished product.
So we have two different things. We have a litho shop for flat sheet decoration, and we have the closure production. So this is the most, so let's say these are two units, but it's different. So at the end, we do not have semi-finished material.
Okay. And so you don't, if you look in the system, you don't have any stock of semi-finished goods. You only have raw material and finished goods.
We have raw material and we have finished goods as well. For sure, we have semi-finished goods, but at the end of the day, with our handling in the system, it's like you have a finished sheet, for example.
Okay.
So it's a little bit difficult to explain, to be honest. So I think it's...
So you have a specific you have specific codes for semi-finished
Yes.
goods and finished goods. You have a different production orders every time the item code changes, and for each production phase, but you never stock a semi-finished good because you have an inline production.
Yes, more or less.
kind of.
That's correct. So we have different, how to say it in English, so cycles of numbers for our different items. So at the end that we can handle every product on the same level.
All right.
Okay. Like you advance the status.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. while concerning the material consumption, I mean, do you, every time that you close your production order, all the material that have been picked from the warehouse are automatically consumed from the bill of material, or do you?
That's correct. So
manually-
we take out the bill of material. So for each single octabean, for example, so if you have a finished octabean and you scan it and put it in the system, all the material goes automatically out from the warehouse. So in addition to that, so we have the manual booking of the scrap we have at the beginning. So this goes on top. So you have the BOM and you have the scrap.
I mean, yeah, you have to confirm the amount of scrap that you have generated, but
Yes.
in that case, it doesn't consume the automatically okay.
It is automatically.
So basically, let's say that
So,
all
for
the-
example, if I have produced 1 million closures and I need X thousand sheets and liner material, blah blah blah, and I have 100,000 pieces scrap, for example, it's a high number, but it goes in the same way. It's automatically booked out.
okay. So we
Sorry,
can.
no, sorry, this is Dario. Only one question. So do you don't need to insert manually some data like batch for the component, or do you don't need to change the quantity? It's totally automatically. So you consume always the standard quantity that you have in the BOM.
Let me say it's totally automatically, but due to the case that we have to insert some data manual by the operator, for sure at the end of the day or at the end of the month you have to check your warehouse. So
Okay.
you have slightly differences, but not too big.
All right. So since we ran out of time for these 15 minutes per company, so let's go to the quality management process. Let's see if we can go through.
So I think this will do Andreas, and he is faster than myself.
Okay. No, it's not a problem to be faster or not. It's because we have a few time and a lot of topics to discuss. That's the problem. Thank you, Matthias.
You're welcome.
Okay. Andreas?
Yes,
That's
I'm
correct. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so what we would like to understand is, do you have a quality control on material, semi-finished product and products? If yes, is ABAS supporting you in performing quality control, or is the execution entirely manual, and so also the quality check registration, result registration?
Yes, we have quality controls in, let's say, more or less each production steps. They are not automatically put into our ERP system. We handle all the records via Excel or written paper. So we do not have it integrated into, let's say, our ERP module. So there are no measurement data or anything else inside. What we have is that we can put the status of the material into our ERP system if it's on hold or under control, so we need to check it. It's either done in the warehouse system that we declare it in the ERP system as on hold material, and we also do a second step that we put some special labels on each pallet. So we have a second visual identification at the end.
Okay, so but do you check also the materials at acceptance, like raw materials or?
Yes.
Yeah.
We accept.
And
we check some of them, not all of them. But for example, the food contact materials like the liner inside the closures, we check them prior to the delivery. And our warehouse, they cannot book, let's say, a new delivery inside our stock if we do not make, let's say, the sketch, if we did not check the sketch mark, the check boxes.
okay, so So basically, do you manage some quality status or some block on the material that you have to check? And this is in the ERP.
Yes.
Okay. So until you didn't finish, until you don't finish, you don't conclude the quality control, you cannot, let's say, pick up this material and work this material during production.
Yes. If we try to pick it up, or if we try to ship pallets which are on hold, we always get, let's say, a remark in the shipping system. And for all the intermediate products like the finished litho sheets, we have, as I said, additional on hold labels directly with each identifier on the pallet.
Okay, because you mentioned shipping, but actually I'm referring to raw materials.
We can
from suppliers.
From suppliers, we do not book the raw materials on pallet basis into our system. We only see the full stock. So I cannot prevent any picking from stocks which are on hold. So those are always visually identified and put aside by the warehouse department.
Okay, so in this case, for raw material from supplier, you do not have visibility in the system.
Yes.
In Abbas. In other words, if there is some raw materials that does not respect the quality standard, I don't know if you use MRP system, but the production order that has to pick up those raw materials can actually do it, right? Because the raw materials batch is not blocked in the system.
Yes and no. We can separate in the warehouse system, so in the ERP, we can separate between good and bad raw materials. But we cannot do this on, let's say, a pallet basis. Let's say we get a shipment of 20 different pallets. In our warehouse system, we only see the total amount. But we do not see, we don't have the visibility on each single pallet. So I'm blocking at the end, let's say 10 tons of material, and we have in our warehouse 90 tons left. I do not see, okay, the blocked 10 tons, it's batch number ABC. This I don't see.
Okay, but the fact is the following. So suppose that I ordered a batch of raw material and I performed the good receipt for that raw material in the system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the raw material is in my stock. Yes. You said that we are not blocking that batch for quality control in Abbas.
No, so it's before we receive the material. We get, in some cases for the liner materials, we get samples from the supplier. We check them. So we make an incoming good inspection on the samples, and then we tell the supplier, okay, the batch is okay, you can ship it.
Okay, so it's
and we have to, yes, and we have to release, we have to release the purchase order in our ERP system. If we don't do this, then our logistic people, they complain that they cannot book it into the stock when we receive them here. But we have to do the release before the shipment.
But okay. you trace or not in your system the check that the warehouse people execute on from to the supplier?
Yes, we have it as, let's say, we need to highlight a check mark in the system for this PO for the purchase order, and then it's released. And we are also sending out, let's say, a written statement to the supplier, including our warehouse people here, that this particular batch and the purchase order XY is released.
You need to trace, I don't know, some characteristic that you checked in your system before to release the purchase order.
It's not inside our ERP system. The
Okay.
checks we do. It's only the final result. It's okay or not okay.
Okay, thank you.
And do you have the possibility to block semi-finished product and finished products if they are not conforming?
Yes.
Okay, and this is visible in the ERP system.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, do you, no, okay, everything is on paper, we said, so basically the system does not inform you when you have to perform a quality check control, but you have everything on paper.
Mhm.
Okay. Good. So by now, I think it's enough. So thank you, Andreas.
Welcome.
I will move to UK.
Oh, yeah, hi, I'm Scott Miller. I'm the production manager here in UCP, and
Hello.
I'm glad we are second. So as described by our German colleagues, our process is very, very similar. I think from listening, one of the only differences we have is we have work in progress, and we contain each working vessel as we go. So we manufacture into an octobin, and we can go to that level of blocking, releasing, and processing that material.
Okay, so you actually also manage the handling unit for each octobin.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and very similar to German colleagues, we generate one work order, and then below that work order we have individual bin identifications.
Sorry, Scott. Sorry, your name is Scott, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Sorry for that. Are you talking just for UK or are you talking also for UCP?
No, I'm talking for UCP.
Okay. All right. So UCP is very similar to Germany. So do you also have one production order for each production phase? Is that correct?
Yes. Correct. Yes.
Okay, so I just go through what we said before. So you have the possibility to register into your ERP system the good quantity and the scrap.
Correct. Yes. The good quantity is automatically generated, sensors on the production lines, and scrap, exactly as Germany, is a manual entry.
Manual entry. So you do not have a vertical system that represents the manufacturing execution system, but as Germany, the manufacturing execution system is into your ERP.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Material consumption is always in backflash, so automatic from the bill of material at the end of
Yes.
each production phase, except
Correct.
for certain cases where you have to manually, let's say, declare the production. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. While quality control management, do you have quality control checks on raw materials from suppliers?
We do. So we process plastics and aluminium here. So and some we do our own printing also. So yeah, of course we have some incoming inspections on these materials. Nothing is captured on our ERP system. Everything is paper based.
If there is a raw material batch which is not conformant, do you have the possibility to trace it into ERP system, or you never
Yes.
have visibility?
Yes. Well, we do. Yes, we would follow the same procedure of blocking and placing into quarantine, so we have it safe and secure. But we would never load it to our system for plastics. We never have a failure. But some of the liquid materials, prints and coatings, we do.
Okay, so actually you don't block it into the system.
Well, we would
For
hold
plastic.
it for plastics. No, we would hold it and have to return to the supplier, but we don't block it electronically. No.
Sorry, Scott. Hi, I'm Ella. I also work with Scott as well. And we do have WMS, which we use to actually trace the material, whether or not it's available or blocked online, as in a system. So that's WMS, which is similar to a MES, but it's not the same. So yeah, we use WMS for that.
So if okay, and do you use it for everything? So raw material, but also semi-finished product that you put in stock, and for finished product as well?
We use
Yes.
for printed plate, WIP, as well as finished good, yeah.
All right. So just to sum up, so you have the possibility to tell to the system that actually there is something that is not conformant and so is blocked and cannot move to the following production phases.
Correct.
But
Correct.
For example, on raw materials, do you have the possibility to tell the system that raw material has to be checked by a quality control or not?
Currently, no.
Okay.
So, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong.
Just to know, both this is question.
Sorry, can I just to be sure I correctly understood. So you perform the quality check before to upload the goods, the raw material in the system, and therefore, if the goods are not compliant, you do not upload the goods into the system.
Correct. For
Okay.
For polymers, where we
materials.
bulk buy, yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, this is a question for both UK and Germany. Because, for example, in Italy, we have we had a discussion about what can be the quality management process for the future. And one thing on which they are interested into is to manage all the quality checks at different stage of the production process. So even on raw materials. And if there is raw materials from suppliers that are not in free pass, so they need to be checked by a quality control, the information has to be on the system. So basically, they want to manage what we call quality status into SAP S/4HANA, the new ERP system, that basically you can tell the system that for that specific item code, there is a certain batch, certain amount that has to be blocked for quality check inspection before being released to the production floor for production. So is it something that you are interested into, or something that you do not feel it is needed? I mean,
So for the UK, yes, that's very appealing. That would bring an advantageous to us. Also, block and release through our process would be very good as a positive release of product as we go. So yeah, very good.
Germany is also for Germany too.
From my side, I would like it. Yes, it's a good thing to have.
Absolutely.
Good. The better we agree on the common model, the better it is. The more we agree on the common model, and the better it is. Okay, just kidding, of course. All right. So, great. So, while concerning UK, so not UCP but UK, do we have similar process or is totally different both from production perspective and quality perspective?
I think I'm Marina, so I'm working on UK and other side, and quality. We have slightly different systems in OMP. So we use MTMS system, which allow us to do traceability on materials, and then we have another system for logging all non-conforming material, which is based on internet. And then it's done by scan gun, so stores actually physically scan material to the quarantine.
Sorry, scan gun, what is that?
Just like device allow you to scan a barcode on a box or Octabin, and then the system kind of blocks material or put it in quarantine and location as well.
All right. So you mentioned your ERP system for traceability, but has a UK...
We don't have ERP system, it's MTMS system.
It's a kind of. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, I remember from last discussion that it's not a real ERP, but it's a system that you use, let's say, has an ERP, but of course does not have the extensive function of an ERP system. Concerning the production process, can we say it's pretty much similar to UCP1, or do you have, let's say, different logics? For example, do you also have one production order for each production phase, or do you
we will have each work order for each production stage? Yeah.
Okay.
I think the process is actually similar to Germany and UCP UK.
So you also manage handling unit for each Octabin, and is it automatically generated by MTMS or not?
I think for us it's just manual entry as well in the system when the work order finishes. So people actually manually put it in OE database, all scrap and total quantities of material, and then it's again scanned by stores to the system.
Okay, this is for the declaration of good quantity and the scrap quantity.
Yes.
But for the ID for each Octabin, so we mentioned that Germany...
We will have the same work order number, and then each Octabin will have a number.
And
or a
is
box.
This the number? Is this Octabin number automatically generated by the system?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you just okay. For Germany and UCP, we said that the good pieces are automatically counted by the system.
We got on our line, so obviously operators complete OE sheet, and then it goes to the system.
But do you have machine integrated with your systems?
No, we got counters at the machine, but it's manual input. So at first operators put it in a production sheet, and then obviously ship managers input it in a OE database. And then it's scanned as well by store guys with a scan gun to the stock, which then goes to MTMS system.
And where is it, this OEE database?
Just like a separate software.
Is the one that you mentioned is internet-based?
It's a separate MySQL database with Access client linked to it. This is where shift managers input data manually after every shift, but storemen also, when they book in the ready product, it goes to MTMS. So they are two separate
systems.
Systems or sources of data later on.
All right. Okay, and concerning the material consumption, can we say is automatically done from for each at the end of each production phase from bill of material? Or do you have different logic? So you can also consume materials that prior of the start of the production phase starting,
I
or
think
even
I think for us, for some material, it will be via GANs as well, so it goes straight on MTMS, but like some are daily bin reading and they done manually as well in Excel sheet.
it's mixed of
Yeah.
it's a mixture of ways to consume
Yeah.
the materials.
I think
So automatically or manually.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there is an access client calculating it, how much parts were produced and assuming how much materials would be used.
Also, Slovak Elaine, she does daily bin issue. So some
Mhm.
material she does on some material, like for example, for heavy plastic, she does it manually on the spreadsheet.
Right, yeah.
So we monitor batch of material we used in a work order number just daily after the reading done.
Mhm.
And then she keep tracks of this material consumption on paper.
Yeah, on Excel. Yeah.
On Excel, and after the day, she writes into the system what is actually let's say consumed.
Usage.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And obviously then we can do a traceability as well, and we sometimes use her reading to and help us identify what batch of material been used, for example, in a work order.
Okay, and the scrap is where do you register the scrap into MTMS or another system?
It's go to OE database, I think. Yeah.
Only, I think, yeah.
Because on the MTMS, it's only good product we can see.
Okay.
Or if something is quarantined, I think you can see it on MTMS as well.
Okay. While concerning quality management, is the same of UCP, or do you have several differences, such as do you have supporting systems to your quality control activities?
We got, it's also intranet based, so we got like NCM database in intranet. For example, if we held something or there is supplier or customer complaints, it's logged. And also after this, system can generate a label, which then attached to the pallet just to identify that this product is quarantined.
Do you have like standard control plans to perform your quality check activities on raw materials, semi-finished product, finished products? Okay. And do you have, I mean, in MTMS, as we discussed with the other companies, do you have the possibility to perform a quality control check on a single batch, and then if that is not non-conforming, to block that batch into the system, into MTMS?
Yes,
or
we
not?
can do it.
Okay.
Yes, we can do it.
And do all the quality control checks results registered by paper, by Excel, or in internet-based, into this internet-based tool that you mentioned before?
Will be different. Obviously, we have MeasureLink, which we use for the measuring data. So there will be some results. Some results will be paper-based. It's operator checks, and some will be just in Excel sheets. It's a mixture, depending on what checks is performed.
Sorry, my connection is a little bit bad. So you mentioned paper sheet, Excel sheet, and
MeasureLink. It's a software which comes with a machine which we use to measure parts.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from my colleagues?
No, from my side.
Okay. So thank you, Marina. We can move to Mexico. Sorry?
Can I take the word from Spain for Planta Barcelona?
Spain?
Yes.
Of course. I can hear you a little bit far away.
Yes, I'm closer now. Not much?
Well, let's try. Let's try.
Okay, I'm trying to share with you our experience. We already have a MES system implemented since 2016.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. So first of all, sorry, can you please share with us your name?
I'm Juan from Barcelona Planta.
Okay, so are you talking for Olérdola or Jerez?
Olérdola.
Okay, thanks. Please go ahead.
Thank you. What I was saying is that we have already a MES system implemented since 2016. This MES system is interfaced with SIP. So the production, the advance and the declaration of the production goes directly to SIP. The difference between something that has already been said is that the declaration of the scrap is done manually, so we don't count the scrap automatically, but the operator at the end of the shift or at the end of the order notifies the scrap, and this is also notified automatically to SAP, but we don't count it automatically.
And sorry, do you manually input the scrap into SAP?
No, automatically into the MES system, and then automatically sent to SIP.
Ah, all right.
Yeah. We also use quality inspection orders at the beginning of the order, during the order. There are different criteria in different machines, but we report all the quality into the MES system. And the only remarkable point is that we can manage or block the production into the MES system, but this is not automatically done in SIP. So if we want to block any production, we have to go to SAP and let's say these batches are blocked. So to Amigo or wherever to block the stock in SAP.
So we have said many things and then I get lost, so sorry if I ask you to repeat something, but I also hear you very far, so it's more difficult. Going back to the production process, just to understand if there are many differences with the other companies. So we said that first of all, the big difference is that you have a vertical system, which is a manufacturing execution system.
Yes.
Can you tell us the name, please?
The name of the system?
Yeah.
It's called Q-Plant.
Q-Plant?
Yeah.
Can you write it into the chat so that we are sure that the spelling...
Si chiama Q-Plant, scritto Q maiuscola plant come stabilimento.
Sorry for it.
Grazie.
Sì, esatto.
Thank you, Sergey. Okay. Interface with SAP. So once you schedule your production order, this goes directly to Q plant,
Yes.
and you execute the production order directly into Q plant.
Yes.
One question is, do you have one production order for each production phase or multiple production
Every phase, every phase has its own order. Yes. And we declare all the phases.
Now I can hear you better.
Yeah, I changed the microphone. There was a wrong configuration. Sorry.
Okay, great. No problem. Okay. Do you also manage one batch for production order and then a different ID for each octabin produced under that batch?
The finished products has its own batch number, but the semi-finished products have one common batch, let's say.
Okay, but as Martino said before, so if we have, for example, 1 million closures batch,
Yes.
but these 1 million closure are put into 10 different boxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1,000 closure, 100,000 closure per each boxes. Do we have one, let's say, ID or one handling unit that identify that specific box?
No, we only identify the finished product
Right.
with a batch. The sub model we have implemented, it's one batch, one pallet. So what it's not inside a pallet, it's not a unique batch. So the semi-finished products have also batches, but it's a common batch for all the same material, let's say. Do you understand?
Okay. Yeah, I understand. So it means that if I have a production order of 1 million pieces,
Yeah.
and I guess that on this production order you have a batch that that identify those 1 million pieces.
Yes. Several
At
batches.
the end,
Yeah.
at the end, if you have 10 different pallets, you will have one batch
10
for each
different
pallet.
batches. 10 different batches, right.
Okay, so it's
No.
kind of
Chiara, sorry. The difference is what type of material is it. So if it's semi-finished, then you have just one huge batch for 1 million. If you are talking about finished product, which is going to be shipped to the customer, then you have as many batches, as many pallets do you have physically, because each physical batch is a physical pallet.
Exactly, but as also UK and Germany.
Yeah, it's the same as Italy also.
And the same as Italy. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm taking notes.
Yes.
Okay. So you execute production order on UQ plant, while concerning material consumption, which logic do you have in place?
Well, at the end of the shift or at the end of the order, we advance the production and we execute the consumptions automatically to SAP. Backflash.
From the bill of material.
Yeah.
Right. And this automatic logic is for both raw materials, components used to produce the semi-finished products, and
in the bill of materials. Yes.
Everything. Okay.
The only exemption on this is that at the last phase, when we palletize the finished product, it's then when we and register the production on the system. And also at this time we generate the label of the finished product.
Right. Good. While quality control management. So, do you have support from SAP to your quality control activities? I mean, do you have like quality control plans and some rules that informs your production operators that have to execute a certain quality control check during production? No.
Not in SAP, no.
Okay. And do you register quality control checks in the system? And if so, which
the checks
system?
and the quality inspection are done in the MES system, in QPlant.
Okay.
So there is traceability, but not in SAP.
Okay. So basically, you just register the results on QPlant, but then there is no integration to SAP.
No, that's what I said at the beginning. So if there is any issue with the quality, the production is not blocked on SAP. So you have to do manually and block this batch or these batches. But this you have to do it afterwards in SAP.
Okay. Does these checks performed starting from raw materials from supplier till the finished product, or just for specific product?
Every phase has its own quality inspection processes. So the litho phase has its own checks. The cutting has its own checks. The press has its own checks with the oil or whatever. The decoration has its own checks. Each phase has its own quality inspection checks.
Okay, these are for production. But do you have checks on raw materials from suppliers?
Checks on raw material and suppliers?
Yeah, I mean at acceptance. So you ordered your raw materials from external supplier?
No.
Or from Magenta, for example, and you have to check it?
Randomly, but no. Randomly, but no. In general, no.
Okay. Good. Other questions from my colleagues?
Not from my side.
All right. So maybe if we have more questions, we will text you because yeah. So thank you very much. And for Hertz.
Yes, correct.
Do we have a similar process?
It's quite different because they have its own MES system. It's different. It's a different system. It's not QPlant.
Okay, but still they have a MES, which is integrated with their
not exactly, because the reporting it's done, it's upload manually afterwards. But yes, they have its own system for managing the injection and all the phases. Gonzalo can.
Is Gonzalo here?
Gonzalo is the plant manager. He's also online. Gonzalo, are you there?
Hola, Gonzalo.
Hola, Chiara.
¿Tenemos que hablar en
Bueno.
español?
Sí, bueno,
Vale.
no sé si me vas a entender, creo que sí. Voy a hablar muy despacio.
Gracias.
Debemos distinguir entre lo que son las órdenes de producción y luego la trazabilidad, ¿vale? La producción está integrada en SAP, ¿vale? Es decir, que planificación, cuando ha introducido los pedidos, planifica, emite todo lo que son las órdenes de producción de lo que sea necesario realizar. Previamente se ha introducido la BOM correspondiente con todos los consumos de todos los artículos que necesita. Ok, ahora bien, justo en ese momento no podemos producir en planta con nada que emita SAP, porque SAP, cuando emite una orden de producción, acumula toda la cantidad a una orden. Entonces, es decir, si nosotros hemos creado una orden con un porcentaje de máster, un porcentaje de material, o lleva un peso de material, cuando tú le dices que fabrique 1 millón, SAP te va a decir 1 millón por ese porcentaje. Es decir, SAP te va a decir, utiliza 5 kilos. La forma de producir no es esa. Es decir, la forma de producir necesita una especificación técnica para que la máquina y el operario de producción pueda manipular la máquina. Por lo tanto, utilizamos las órdenes de SAP, pero utilizamos un sistema que el operario entiende. Ese sistema, además, va con códigos de barras, de tal manera que luego, a partir de ahí, permita la trazabilidad. ¿Vale? Luego, a nivel de producción, todas las máquinas están conectadas a un sistema que monitoriza la planta. Es decir, que en todo momento vamos viendo la producción de cada máquina y qué es lo que está ocurriendo. Y al final del turno, el programa emite un informe que entra en SAP con todas las notificaciones de producción. Y SAP hace el consumo a través de la BOM.
Ok.
¿Me explico?
Pruebo, sí. Por lo tanto, tenemos una orden en SAP y después esa orden va en el MES, ¿vale? En el MES, el sistema que está conectado con todas las máquinas.
Sí.
Desde el MES, el operador tiene que execute. ¿Cómo?
Adelantar la producción.
Gracias, Giancarlo. Tenemos Giancarlo que habla español muy bien y por eso...
Ok, Giancarlo, ¿me ha entendido?
Sí, vale. La orden va en el mes. Desde el mes la producción adelanta, y después tenéis que, ¿cómo se dice? Se cierra el orden de la producción, se cierra en el sistema de producción, en el mes.
Efectivamente.
Está integrado con SAP y desde SAP tenemos ¿cómo se dice? El
consumo.
Sí, el consumo de los materiales desde la Bill of Material.
Efectivamente. ¿Vale?
Vale.
Es decir, todo eso a nivel de producción. Y luego aprovechamos esos órdenes de producción que emitimos nosotros. Por ejemplo, no sé si veis algo.
¿Sí?
Vale. Bueno, es un ejemplo simplemente. Entonces, los operarios trabajan con un celular.
¿Sí?
¿Ok? Y con ese celular, ahora explicará Diana toda la trazabilidad. El celular tiene una aplicación en la que va a ir introduciendo el número de orden, máquina, operario. Además, el propio celular está logueado a la persona. Por tanto, en todo momento, la persona que registra una orden está haciendo una trazabilidad de la persona, la máquina, la hora, todo. Sigue, Diana.
Hola, buenas tardes. Bueno, como ya comentaba Gonzalo y Joan, tenemos un sistema de trazabilidad propio. El programa se llama WallaTrack. Estamos terminando de implementar la fase de inyección y decoración. Podemos decir que ya está concluido y estamos terminando de perfeccionarlo en la fase de montaje. Cada contenedor, partiendo de la fase de inyección, va identificado con una hoja de trazabilidad, que es la que ha mostrado Gonzalo, que lleva un código de barra único para cada contenedor, que corresponde a la orden SAT, más unos 3 dígitos que son los indicativos de cada contenedor.
Vale, como en l'Italia. Como la Italia.
Sí, ¿no? Cada operario dispone de un móvil, de un celular, que lee el código de barras y debe identificar, por ejemplo, en inyección, molde, defectos si detecta algún defecto, y en caso de que detecte algún defecto, pueda o no pueda aceptar ese contenedor. Tenemos la opción también de adjuntar alguna fotografía, por ejemplo, una pequeña rebaba, pero la aceptamos, hacemos una foto de que hoy a las 5 de la tarde hemos detectado este defecto en determinada máquina. Toda esa información se vuelca en una base de datos que desde el departamento de calidad podemos filtrar. También está la opción, por ejemplo, la fase del corte, de hacer las inspecciones y el operario hace una foto a los resultados de esas inspecciones. De forma que de cada contenedor tenemos un registro de los resultados de cada prueba.
En cada fase, cuando el operario entra en una fase y un contenedor le dice el número de inspecciones que tiene que hacer y tienen que quedar registradas. Y luego, aparte, lo que dice Diana, él decide, pero está en el sistema y acompaña de una fotografía que queda registrada en el sistema.
Ok, pero no he entendido. ¿Este registro de resultados es en Excel, es en la Scartaseo o tenéis este registro de resultados en el MES?
Es una base de datos.
¿Cómo?
Database.
Ok, es en el sistema.
Sí.
¿En el MES o en SAP?
No, en MES.
Ok.
O sea, en ese sistema, luego tú puedes, bueno, cuando tú has llegado al producto finito, una caja, una escátola, va registrada con una fecha, una hora y todo, y a partir de ese momento, bueno, y luego el palet, SAP da un número al palet. Pero luego, cualquier caja que presente un defecto en un cliente, informáticamente lleva registrado todos los componentes, cuándo se hicieron, la máquina, operario, si se había detectado algún tipo de defecto. Es decir, los todas las pruebas y test que se hicieron, registro de pares de corte, en fin, que automáticamente todo. Y luego además puede ir hacia otros productos que tengan algún componente de ese, que estén en esa trazabilidad.
Vale, Giancarlo, ¿has entendido todo?
Bastante, sí.
Ok. Can you please, cioè, puoi dirgli che facciamo un passaggio interno e poi in caso ci sono delle domande ritorniamo da loro.
Vale, Gonzalo, no me entiendo bastante. Hacemos una reunión interna para alinearnos y si tenemos algunas preguntas más vamos a preguntarnos por mail. ¿Vale?
Ok.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muy complejo y amplio. Y muy desarrollado.
Sí, es muy desarrollado porque tenéis un sistema que está conectado con todas las máquinas, tenéis el soporte del sistema para hacer los control de calidad y tenéis las opciones de bloquear, se dice bloquear, en un producto que no es conforme con los estándares de calidad. Y por eso, sí, es. ¿Y cómo se llama el sistema de producción que tenéis?
No, es un sistema que hemos desarrollado y nos lo han implantado a través del desarrollo que nosotros hemos solicitado. El sistema de producción está en SQL base y luego el de trazabilidad, que están interconectados también, pero nos dan los informes y todas las búsquedas a través de Access para que sea más fácil. Pero
es un sistema customizado.
Tailor-made system.
Es tailor-made, ok.
El sistema permite ver, monitorizar, o sea, monitoriza todas las producciones, monitoriza la orden de SAP y te permite trabajar no en máquinas, sino delante para planificar. La planificación inserta todas las órdenes ahí y van directamente a máquina.
Vale.
Y el de trazabilidad pienso que es mucho más avanzado, porque ahí está totalmente, todo el producto está absolutamente trazado a todos los niveles. Porque se introduce hasta el número de lote de máster, de tinta, todo.
Muchas gracias.
Muy bien.
Gonzalo.
Gracias. Muchas gracias, Gonzalo.
De nada.
Vale, I'm not going to repeat it in English, but I will write in English the minutes of this meeting. So for Germany and UK, if you want to know what we said together with Spain, I will report it into a table, a sum up table as the one that we saw in the planning and scheduling group. I don't repeat it in English just because we have just 10 minutes left and we would like to conclude the overview on Mexico. So in the next meeting, we can start discussing the production model and other things that will concern the to-be model the model for the future. So do we have Joel from Mexico?
This is Jose.
Corrector?
This is Jose.
Koala Closure, Mexico.
This is Jose.
Yes?
This is Jose Luis Luque from Mexico plant. I'm gonna talk in Spanish just to be clear about our process here. Okay?
Sorry, are you going to talk in Spanish?
I am gonna to speak in Spanish just to be sure that the process that we are doing here is clear for you and for the SAP team. Okay?
Okay, but I prefer English if it's okay.
Okay, let's go. First of all, we receive from the planning people the production order. Then all the production order are for each item, right? And then the production order is a sheet that we put in each container that we have for each item. Then the operator is going to check the quantity of the finished good or the whole for inspection material, all right? And the scrap.
Sorry for interrupt you. The fact is that in Mexico, the production order is on an Excel base, right?
Yes, it's on Excel, right.
So, and the bill of material are on Access.
The bill of material are in GD Edwards system.
I'm sorry, Jose Luis. No, in GDA system we have now the bill of material. It's not possible actually.
Thank you, Oscar.
We have, if you give me the opportunity to explain, the bill of material actually is on Excel spreadsheets and also on Access, Microsoft Access, one tool that we developed in the past on Microsoft Access.
Okay, thank you, Oscar. All right, so we have production order on Excel. So the production order is, okay, can you please move ahead with the production process? So how do you keep track of each production phase?
We have the traceability of each production order, and every traceability is in each machine with each operator. So the operator, it's control the traceability, and then when we finish the production, he put this traceability in the batch, and then the quality people goes to the line and make a
Check the material.
Check the material and say if the material is good, goes to finish good, or if the material is on hold, we don't report this material in this moment. We need to source this material.
Okay, and are these results registered in the Excel?
Yes.
Yes.
Every check are in Excel.
So if it's something that is not conforming, you just put it apart so that it cannot go further in the production phases.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So we said that the bill of material are on Excel and Access. So basically, I imagine that your material consumption is tracked manually on a paper sheet. Is that correct? Or how do you track the fact that you have consumed a certain amount of products, components, and raw materials?
Oscar?
Okay, we control on GD Edwards the stock of materials, basically the direct materials, I mean plastics, master batch, aluminum, etc., etc. And that we made the consumption is using papers. The production people ask to warehouse some materials. They put on a paper, on a ticket, the materials code and the quantity that they need to take from the warehouse in order to do the production. Then this ticket, the people from warehouse take the tickets and go to the computer to go into the system to put directly on the system the consumption of every single material and the quantities, obviously, and that's the process that we make to do that.
Is it done daily at the end of the day?
Yes. Yeah, every 24 hours. I mean, the consumption, the today's consumption, tomorrow will appear on the system.
Okay.
This is for raw materials, but I think Jose Luis can explain us the particular situation about semi-finished products.
Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah, the finished products are controlled by the production people with an Excel system or with Excel spreadsheet. And every that the people need some semi-terminado, semi-finished good, they just load this consumption in the inventory, in the Excel.
In Excel?
In Excel. Mm-hmm. In a spreadsheet of Excel.
All right.
And we have every week we have a cycle inventory just to review all the semi-finished product.
All right. Do you also have track of paper, the batch ID for finished product, semi-finished product, and a specific ID for each octa being produced? Or
yeah. For finished product, yes, we have the traceability for each batch.
For each pallet?
Each pallet, right.
Okay.
Each pallet is a batch, but for the semi-finished, no. The batch for the semi-finished good is the order production.
The production order.
Right. Okay. Finally, do you keep track of the scrap?
Yes, every shift in every single line report the scrap from the shift, no? And we put in the control paper that we have in each machine, and the end of the day we put in a spreadsheet of Excel that we did the control, or we do the control.
Okay. Good. Okay. We mentioned quality control, and we said that each result is registered into the Excel.
The quality control are registered in the Excel file or in the Superset. It's a statistical control software.
Sorry, in Excel or?
Superset. SUPIRTEP. It's a statistical control software. In this statistical control software, we have a quality control or quality registers. And after the test or after the control for the analysis, we determine if the batch is good or no. If the batch is good, the batch is approved with a folio that is a sequential number. And if the pallet is not good, we report this pallet in our internal Excel file, the no control material, no conformity material. This is for the finished product. For the raw material, when the material arrives in Uala, we check the material and we determine if the material is good or not. If the material is good, we we say the material is approved, and if the material is not good, we stop the invoice and the control. And after we send an email to the to the supplier for the actions. But each raw material is controlled for quality people.
Okay. And even the quality control checks on raw material are managed in the Excel.
Yes,
results.
Excel or quality, statistical quality system.
Okay. Well, thank you. Sorry if I interrupt you now, just because we have 3 minutes. We are 3 minutes late. So thank you very much for your time and your availability. We run fast to cover all the topics for all the companies. So please forgive us if maybe we will get back to you with some questions just for clarification. The next meeting will be after tomorrow, and we will start talking about production. So we will see how can be the model for the future, and which is the applicative landscape, which is basically designed by the Wallace Top Management. So thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, bye.